thin skin, held up longer than I was wanting to.
Welcome to Center Stage, the documentary podcast. Each week, our group of intrepid researchers and music archivists dig through the record crates of the world, looking for that one artist to take center stage. Using a patent-pending algorithm and spirited debate, we pick one artist. Once that is settled, we invite that artist into Thunderlove Studio to chat with your hosts Keith R. Higgins and Jeff Calhoun. When we're lucky, they say yes. Our mission with Center Stage is simple: to make sure the recorded work of artists remains, or in some cases lands on, the cultural radar. We invite you to sit back and relax. Thank you for joining us.
After connecting via the vibrant Santa Barbara music scene, Misha Feldmann and Tony Sevener helped shape the sound of Summercamp, an alt-rock band signed to Maverick Records in the mid-90s. After Summercamp had run its course, Misha and Tony remained close. It's that closeness that led to the unique band that is Red Rose Way. Because they live in different zip codes, and of course, life, it makes recording more challenging. But necessity is the mother of invention, and the two have found a recipe that allows them to make some kick-ass music. I got the chance to talk with Misha and Tony recently about Red Rose Way, and this is my conversation with the two of them. Misha and Tony from Red Rose Way, thank you and welcome to Center Stage.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Misha, let me ask you this. You guys are from Santa Barbara.
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about the scene. I've had the pleasure of interviewing a couple of guys from Santa Barbara. Glenn Phillips from Toad the Wet Sprocket. Marco. From Sugar Cult. Obviously Steve. S.W. Loudon. What was that scene like for you guys coming up?
It was something extra special. Santa Barbara itself, just the city itself, is just so unique. It's got everything there. As far as just it's got the beach and the mountains, and it's just a nice little city. But where it lies, it's just north of LA. So growing up there, we would go to concerts in LA all the time, just drive back and forth. So just the city itself it's just a unique place. But the music scene, there's been a music scene there ever since I was, a kid, and I would go to shows and watch, I've seen, when we were in high school, I would go to this place called the Red Barn, and we'd watch Toad the Wet Sprocket play a little barn, stuff like that. And then there was a really big punk rock scene there in Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara and our neighboring Oxnard, Ventura area. Lots of punk bands. The whole Nardcore scene came out of there.
Nardcore?
Nardcore. So punk bands from the city of Oxnard started what's called Nardcore, and a Santa Barbara band that was in that scene called RKL, Rich Kids on LSD, was they were one of the first bands I remember becoming very, they weren't mainstream by any means because they were punk rock, but they were big enough to have a name amongst the other punk bands. And we used to go watch them as kids. And then we had, Toad the Wet Sprocket. They were a thing. Ugly Kid Joe became huge.
Oh, really?
Santa Barbara. Yeah.
I had no idea they were from Santa Barbara.
They're from Santa Barbara. Technically Isla Vista, which is the college town at UCSB, Santa Barbara. But yeah, they're a Santa Barbara band. And then a little bit later was Lagwagon, punk rock band from Santa Barbara, and Dishwalla, another Santa Barbara band. And then the mid 90s happened, and there's so many different types of bands that would play in Santa Barbara. It's not just one. You know how Seattle everything kind of got lumped into like grunge, or that there's like a sound from Seattle.
Right.
Santa Barbara didn't have a sound. They just had plenty of good, talented bands happening. And there was
a ridiculous amount of talent for a town that size.
Totally. So there was things happening always. You could go downtown. There was a lot of clubs, rock clubs which is different than now. It's totally different. But you could go every weekend and see bands. And it was just this real special era. A lot of, we would go to our friends' bands shows and they would come to our shows. A lot of, camaraderie. And so in the mid 90s, we had Summercamp had been playing for a while under a different name. And when 1996 came around and we kind of wanted to bump up our progress, basically, like Tony and I were in a band called Scarecrow at the time. And that band, the guitar player left to go pursue a solo career, which was totally successful, but that's another story. When that happened, we focused our energy into Summercamp.
Okay.
We changed the name to Summercamp, and we started playing a lot in Los Angeles, doing the thing I was saying with Ride All High and bands like Silver Jet. Who else? Sky Cycle, Big Elf.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of LA bands. We would kind of do this cross-pollination thing. And Santa Barbara became this kind of magical place for music, and people started noticing, and labels started noticing, and bands started getting signed out of Santa Barbara. And Summercamp, and I always call them our brother band, which is a band called Snot. That's a
Snot,
like a heavy Ozfest style music.
Okay.
We got signed like within the same month or something, and they were at Geffen, we were at Maverick, and we just kind of got to experience the thing at the same time. Like Santa Barbara was just there's another Ozfesty band, it was Ultra Spank, who got signed also. But
another band to mention from that era is Popsico.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. Tim from Summercamp was in that band, and also Marco from Sugar Cult was in that band. And so, that kind of preceded. Yeah. That band ended early, tragically, and so, that preceded what happened with Summercamp and stuff.
It played a big part in that. But we were the other bands like Nerf Herder from Santa Barbara.
Really?
And they're still happening.
Yes, they are. For those listening, Misha's rifling through CDs over there.
I've got CDs of everybody. I've got Nerf Herder right here.
Okay.
I've got Snot, Santa Barbara, Lagwagon, Santa Barbara.
Wow.
A band called Wasted Tape that people should not sleep on if you're, especially if you're into melodic. They kind of go power pop, but not as power.
What's the name?
Wasted Tape.
Wasted Tape.
They're a three-piece. One of my favorites.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like an exciting time to be a band. Now, did you guys grow up together in Santa Barbara?
No. I born and raised in Santa Barbara. Tony came. What year was that?
I moved there in 1990, so basically after high school.
Oh, okay.
I moved out there because I had a good friend out there. My both my sisters, who are older, had lived there at different points, and so I was familiar with it. And through my other friend, good friend who lived there, who's also a musician, he kind of let me in on like how much music was happening there. And he kind of hipped me to the Isla Vista scene, because that was another unique aspect of Santa Barbara, was that there was this little college slum called Isla Vista where UCSB is. And that's where the main band rehearsal complex in town was. And but even beyond that, Isla Vista was a place where you could get your band, put your gear in the car, drive it to someone's frat house or just apartment driveway, knock on the door and say, "Hey, can we play here tonight?" And they'd be like, "I don't know, like we'll buy a keg." All right, and so like you could have a gig anywhere. And
with a built-in audience of
the weekend nights there
kids
were like Mardi Gras, because like there would just be tons of college kids just roaming the streets in the middle of the street every Friday and Saturday night. So if you set up your band there in somebody's carport, it's an instant show.
That's amazing.
It was crazy. Like any given Friday or Saturday night, there would be like 4 or 5 bands playing at different backyard parties or in people's driveways, in people's front yards. Yeah, it was nuts. So the minute I saw that, I was like, I'm moving there.
Tony and I both did that. We're in a bunch of bands that played people's driveways and garages,
totally.
But we didn't know each other yet.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I went to, Tim Cullen, from Summercamp.
Mm-hmm.
I went to see his, former band, way early in the 90s playing in somebody's driveway.
Yeah. And I was
because I knew the bass player in the band. I'm like, oh, Dan's band is playing. And I went to see them. Misha was also there because he knew Tim, but we didn't know each other. I didn't know Tim yet. So it's just funny like that.
Me and Tim Cullen went to high school together.
Okay.
And I met him. The first time I ever met him was I came into Santa Barbara High School as a 9th grader, a freshman, and he was a junior. He's a couple years ahead of me. And we were both in the marching band at the high school. And that's how I met him. And we were like, oh, you like rock? You like rock? Let's hang out. So that's how I met him, Tim Cullen.
Very cool. So after summer camp, you guys, all 4 of you went your separate ways, presumably.
Yeah.
When and what made you when did you guys decide to get back together again? And what made you, Tony and Misha, decide to get back together again to form Red Rose Way?
Well, I mean, I think both of us had done some other bands and projects in between then,
including the Tim Cullen solo record.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah, we did a tour behind that record with Tim. And then the 4th member was Luke Tierney from Silverjet and Pen 15 Club. And I had moved up to Seattle for a little while and had formed a band called Honeycut. Misha was playing with Luke in the Pen 15 Club. And then, I moved back to the Bay Area, San Francisco, and continued with Honeycut. And then after that, I played in a band called Dirty Ghosts. and I was also touring France with this French band called General Electrics. And suddenly, when COVID happened, all of that stuff just slammed to a halt.
Yeah.
And we were just like, okay, all the music's gone, all the activities are gone, like gigs are gone, clubs are gone. So I think that was when we just kind of found ourselves going, okay, what now? And I had been getting into recording, self-recording for, the last bunch of years prior to that. And then when COVID happened, me and Misha have remained very close friends from summer camp, from even before summer camp till now. And so when COVID happened, Misha was like, you know what? I think if I'm going to have any kind of musical life right now, it's probably going to have to be, doing some recording. So can you help me get up and running? Like, tell me what to get, tell me what to do. And so that, the immediate aim wasn't like, hey, let's form a recording project together. It was just like, he was like, I need an outlet to play music, so let's get this going. But I think we both kind of knew, like, oh, if that happens, it's only a matter of time before we do something together musically. So any thoughts on that, Mish?
Well, lots. I mean, that the stretch between when summer camp ended and Red Rose Way's birth, a lot went down. Like Tony said, he moved away. He had Honeycut. He had Dirty Ghosts, life. And I got married. We had children. And then we moved from Santa Barbara to Ventura, which is between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles, which was good because my wife works in Santa Barbara and I needed to be closer to LA because I was in a band called the Pen 15 Club that I still play with. And after, when the whole pandemic and all that, when we couldn't do anything, that's when, yeah, exactly. I wanted to do something. I had to do something. Music is super important. And I need that thing in my life. I have a unique family situation where I have 3 sons, 2 of which are 23-year-old adult. My sons with autism. They have profound autism where they'll live with us forever, that kind of.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm the dad, but I'm also the daily care provider for them.
Okay.
So I had to already kind of cut my, alter my music career. I couldn't jump in a van and go tour the, world for 6 weeks or whatever. That was over for me. So I had to find out a way to do it. Sorry. Background noise.
Sorry.
And that's why the Pen 15 Club ended up working out because it was here and we played locally. The only tour we did was like a less than a week in Japan.
Okay.
But that's been a great band to be in, to keep playing, But yeah, I really wanted to be able to do something at home, on my own. And Tony, like, I can't underestimate how helpful he was to this. It's like, it's huge. I'm not a tech person. I don't know computers and gear and anything like that. I just have my bass and I plug it into the Ampeg and there's nothing, I'm very simple when it comes to all that. I never recorded anything except for on a, boombox or something. So when this happened and he's like, okay, here's what you're going to get. It's called Logic. Download Logic. You're going to get this interface. You're going to get these, microphones. And I just did all that and just kind of dedication happened. I made it work. But he was there to coach me and mentor me the whole way, and still is.
That's great. That's great. I don't think I could do that.
I didn't either, though. That's the thing. I didn't either. I really didn't.
He didn't think he could do it, and it's hilarious. It was hilarious to watch him progress because, every time he needed to edit something, I would like talk him through it. And then after a while, he would be like, "Oh yeah, I edited. I chopped out this bridge and like moved it over here." And I'm like, "You did that without asking how to do it." And pretty soon he's like editing stuff better than I am. So I'm just like, "All right, cool, man."
It's that thing of like, once you kind of get over the hump of like, oh wait, I can do this, it becomes fun. And it's like, if it's something that you love, like my music is my passion, and like, then it's like, okay, here we go. Like then it becomes a fun thing and not tedious and weird, but it's like, wow, all right, let's make this happen. And then we started collaborating and formed Red Rose Way right there.
I'm always afraid of deleting something that I've worked on and just deleting it entirely and be like, God damn it. Now I have to go back and start from scratch. So totally. I'm methodical in my approach and
save.
I learned that the hard way. I learned it the hard way.
When I was in that band Honeycut, there were a couple of times where in that band, the recordings and the hard drives and stuff lived with my bandmate. And I'm going to throw him under the bus right now because I was the guy that was always like, "Hey, did you back that up? Did you back that up?" And there were a couple times where drives just literally went bad and died. The physical hard drive just died, and the stuff wasn't recoverable. So we there were a couple of times where we lost like a week's worth of work. Making records, because I made a couple of records with that band. And I learned my lesson back then. And so now, once the hard drives were living with me, then I'm just like backing stuff up and saving.
All those things now that Tony has learned, though, all those things he gave me right up front. And I have like an idiot list on my iPhone, just on my notepad. It's like, save is one of those things,
Yep.
Yeah.
What is the significance of Red Rose Way? What's the significance of the name, of the band name? Who wants to tackle that?
It's all you. You were there first.
It's the name of a street in Santa Barbara, and I had initially moved into an apartment on that street with a friend of mine, and he lived there for about 6 months and then was going to move to I think he was moving to Santa Cruz. And at that point, Misha and I were already playing in the band Scarecrow together, and he was living in an apartment by himself, or a little studio. And so I was like, "Hey man, you want to move into this apartment on Red Rose Way?" And so we were roommates there for like 5 years or so.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So
it became a place. Like all our friends would come. It was like a hangout spot.
It was a hub. It was a definite hub.
All the guys from different bands, and like everybody hanging out and smoking weed and drinking beer and listening to music. That what you do in your 20s.
Yes. Yeah. But only in your 20s.
Correct. Well, in your 20s, you have no cares in the world. So, at least we didn't at that point. It was all about just let's rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we came to try to choose a name for this thing, I don't remember exactly how that came up, but it was like, it has a ring to it. It has like sort of a visual component to it. It's 3 syllables. We like 3-syllable band names. Totally. And at the time we didn't really think about this, but Paul McCartney has that album called Red Rose Speedway.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a cool little thing where people are like, hey, I wonder if they, that's because of that. And it's not, but it's cool that that's another kind of like things that it conjures up with people. So
take the connection. Take it.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll take it.
At least it's tied to someone that we love.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He strolls around in his old town, looking for memory lane. The scene is gone and plastic now. Money sucked the vibe away, just like the times when we were younger. We would call on you, on you. You know it can happen again. You know it can happen again.
I love the visuals on your Bandcamp page for your songs. The visuals.
Oh, cool.
What can you tell me about those? I really, really like the lettering, the images. I just think it's very, very cool, for lack of a better word. What can you tell me about that?
We so firstly, we have one of our friends from, Tony's known forever, and I've known since the 90s. Our friend Dave, he's in graphic arts. That's his deal.
Dave Kordemosh, aka Dave C.
Okay.
He's known as Dave C. Everybody knows him as Dave C.
Who the fuck is Dave C? That's his career.
He used to do our flyers, back in the gigging days before, Facebook and all that. The only, the way that you would get the attention for your gig was like you would make flyers and you go out with a hammer tacker and put them up on telephone poles and everywhere in town. So Misha and I used to do that for our bands. We were
right,
like,
and we go to other
guys.
people's gigs and hand them out too. Yeah,
that too. And Dave C used to do our flyers back in the day because he was already working in graphic design back in those days. So, when it came time to do something for Red Rose Way, it was like, hey, Dave, can you make us up a logo that's kind of like this? We kind of want it stacked. We kind of want it to connect so it looks like a logo. And so we came up with the logo. And then as far as the visuals, it's funny, like our reference point for that was there's a jazz artist called Bob James.
Okay.
He's like you could arguably call it was kind of like the beginning of smooth jazz. There was this label called CTI. It was a jazz label in the 70s. And it was sort of like the birth of like proto like smooth jazz. It was sort of like a lot of the artists on that label were starting to like play like pop material in a jazz context and putting like string sections behind the stuff. And I think it's a very polarizing era. But that label and in particular the Bob James records had this visual aesthetic where it was kind of like a lot of the things were like these still lifes or just these kind of like iconic photos of very specific things. And I don't know, I think we part thought it was funny and part thought it was cool because like there's a Bob James record cover that's literally just a picture of a football
Yeah.
And then there's like
There's
another
one of a
one
hot
that's
dog.
like there's one that's like of a hot dog. There's
Yeah.
one that's like a traffic sign. And I think we kind of thought they were funny, but there was something very like iconic and immediate about them too.
Yeah.
And so that's always been kind of our reference point with Red Rose Way, and in doing so, I think it's given them like a little bit of continuity, kind of in the way the Bob James ones were. Like they're very different, but that aesthetic kind of gave a continuity through the whole thing. So
Totally.
Very, very cool.
Shout out Bob James, by the way.
yeah,
But since the way we do this, it takes a long time to do one song, and we didn't want to wait a million years to have people be able to hear what we're making. We wanted to use that as like each song gets its own album cover.
Okay.
Like, so there's something to go with it. And some of the songs we tried to kind of think like, what image would connect to the, the subject matter of the song or whatever. And then it just kind of morphed into, you know what? It really doesn't matter. Let's just put an image there
just
that
catch
we
a
like.
vibe.
Something that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. So that's what and the kind of the plan is when we get enough songs to make an actual album, which we want to do, we might kind of take all of that down and then just put up an album that has one album cover, as they do these days.
Yes.
Maybe. We don't know yet, but that's the thing with the art. It's like each song deserved its own single cover, right?
Yeah.
Just to have something to look at.
It's great. I really enjoy it. Kudos to Dave C. Shout out.
Yeah, Dave.
Mhm. Shout out
Great.
Dave C.
I'm glad you brought that up, Misha. The way you do things. Let's talk about the way you do things, because you guys don't record in the traditional sense of what I'm thinking in the same room. You, from what I understand, trade files back and forth. Do I have that right?
100%.
When
We've
it comes to
yeah.
Red Rose Way, we've been in the same room together making Red Rose Way music. 0 minutes.
Wow.
Ever. We've never been in the same room at any point in time making this music.
And that's how it has to work for us.
There's a list on the wall, empty boxes and all, and it's falling down like rain. Need a visit from Miss Motivation again. Have you seen her around anyway? The right time, using a lifeline, reading the road sign, finally making a change.
Tony lives in the Bay Area and I live in Southern California, and the geography doesn't work out
Right.
for us to get together. And then life also. It's a big, honestly, for me, I find it difficult and challenging just to find the time to chip away at a song with my daily life. as I said, I'm a dad. I have 3 sons,
Right.
2 of which are, profound autism. And our family lives in like this bubble, and we go as they go, and I can only do so much. So I look forward to finding those moments where I can, like right now they're at their day program and I'm able to do something. So
able to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that I just have to be thankful for those moments and able to chip away and work on music with Tony, because that's something that's completely necessary in my life, and it's therapeutic and everything else. Super important. So I don't know how sometimes, but I make ways to figure it out.
All right, I'm going to ask you about a couple of songs. Flying Low reminds me a little bit of the Smithereens.
Roll up and call out the buzz that you heard. It was me and them against the world. Slip away and in the day our rocket ship awaits. Moon is low, so we make our escape. How low, so low, flying low tonight. How low, so low. How low, so low, flying low tonight.
And then in Here For You, I hear a little bit of The Cure.
Ever seen through others' eyes? Ever thought what it was like out there? Bright beyond what we can see, questioning the mystery in there. Here for Here for
Who are some of your influences for Red Rose Way? Tony?
You definitely just named 2 of them.
I did. Okay,
Um,
I'm on board. Okay.
I mean, it's funny because I'm way more of the Cure guy. Like, the Cure is like one of my favorite bands of all time. Misha is a fan, but less so. But the seed of the song "Here for You" was one that Misha came up with. So when he came with something that sounded like The Cure, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's
But
on the tail of that particular song. Like for one, I wrote the lyrics to that song about my sons, and so it's really emotional. It's kind of ballad-esque or whatever. But recently, in my old age, I have been listening to a lot of more like mellower music, I guess you would say.
Okay.
We both love the Cocteau Twins, and I've been heavily involved in listening to them a lot. And The Cure has those kind of melodies going on in the guitar in the lead parts, you know, the melodic theme guitar parts. And that's where that started, I think.
that was actually a song that Misha came to me with, like, yeah, this probably isn't a Red Rose Way thing, but this was just like kind of a personal thing that I really wanted to, you know, that I was really, you know, sincerely feeling. So, you know, check it out. And when I heard it, I just, you know, my kind of producer brain, like, it hit my ears, and I said, wait a second, though. I hear how we could do this as a Red Rose Way song. And so, you know, I said, no. We have to do this. So that one, you know, came about, like, that was a total collaboration, and you know, I added in some stuff, you know, some parts to it. And as far as Flying Low, it's I was definitely thinking Smithereens when I came up with the vocal parts for that song. You know, it's a band that I've you know, I liked them all along, but in the last 5 years, I've gotten like way more into them and just appreciated them a lot more. And particularly the vocal style, I super relate to. And I'm a big Elvis Costello fan.
Okay.
And you know, growing up, I think I used to just like sing along a lot with the Elvis Costello records. And so when it came time where it was like, I'm going to have to sing now, I think the kind of, there's some Elvis Costelloisms that kind of come out. And Pat Denizio from Smithereens, I think he has a really heavy Elvis Costello influence as well, in the way he constructs his melodies and the way he gets from like syllable to syllable. So I think, although it was kind of Smithereens-esque, it's probably both of us just kind of biting Elvis Costello.
Understood. Which I guess that begs the question: how do you guys divide? How does it work for you? Do you each pitch each other ideas? Like Tony, you'll say, Misha, I got this set of lyrics with this beat, or, you know, how does that work for you guys, splitting the divide and conquer attitude?
It's, well, technically, like, most of the time, it's one of us will bring kind of the skeleton of a song in.
Okay.
Like, you know, a very rough demo of, here's some parts, how they kind of go together, and these are the lyrics or whatever. And the person who does that is typically the one who sings lead on that song, and the other one sings harmonies on that song.
Oh,
but
the
then
old Lennon McCartney trick.
Yeah. But then we take that song and we start arranging it together, you know, arrangement and details and transitions and everything. Like, we really kind of, we're sending files back and forth. We're talking on the phone. We're texting voice messages about every little thing, and until we're happy with it. And then we erase everything and record it for real. Like, do a final take. Yeah, the demo ends up being a demo that gets pushed aside, and we start, Tony will track the drums for the song, and then we'll go from there. But
that's kind of one aspect of the old way that people used to do things that we still kind of incorporate into the way we work. Because back in the day, you'd write a song, you'd record a demo on a 4-track cassette, you'd kind of work on it there, like change things and kind of perfect it, and then you would like take your money and go into a real studio, because that was like, people weren't doing home recording back then, really.
Right.
And you would record the real version, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And so we still kind of work like that, even though I think a lot of people now, they'll write a song and it'll be this kind of working demo. And then maybe they'll replace a few things or like chop up a few things here and there, but the demo becomes the real version. But we don't do it that way. And we kind of keep the demo. We kind of like when the demo's kind of shitty. Because then it's easier to beat. Like when you do the real thing, you're not, because there's a thing called demoitis that all musicians know about.
Yeah,
totally.
That like when you go in to record the real one, you're like, it sounds pretty good, but the demo just had this thing, this vibe, this, and really what the thing and the vibe is you're so used to listening to it.
Totally.
That like it's hard to let go of that thing that you're clinging to.
We had that with Summercamp.
Yes. Every band has that. But when your demo is pretty shitty, when you like don't try to perfect the demo too much, it's easier to like the real version once you do it, because it's just like, objectively better.
But also to add on to that, I mean, all of that is 100%, but also we know that it's the demo. So we're not necessarily trying to nail it as far as takes go and stuff like that.
Exactly.
We're not like wasting our breath with that. We're going to save it all, save the good takes for the real thing. And then when it's the real thing, you can get all nervous and tense and, I'm going into the studio and pressing record for real now. And we, then it counts. So we can be sloppy with the demo.
Yeah.
But being that we're not paying for every hour of studio time anymore, like back in the day, we don't have to get that nervous.
True. Yeah.
And it's funny because, like we said, we do this all day long, or like throughout a day of our daily lives of Misha, taking care of his family. And I have a pretty much a full-time job. But we'll text each other, okay, try singing it a little more like this on the demo. And then Misha will sing something, he'll send it to me, I'll go on my lunch break, listen to it, call him, give him feedback, and then say, oh, what if you did a little more like this? And then he'll do it again. I'll get off work 5:00, listen to it, call him back again. So, it's kind of makes a day of normal life like fun and less tedious. And it's like we just sprinkle music throughout every spare minute that we have during a normal day, and it just makes life so much cooler.
That's great. Your most recent release is The Impossible Past. Tell us a little bit about how that song came to be.
That's one of the ones I brought to the table. I just, that was one of those ones where I just picked up the guitar and probably most of the riffs and stuff on that song came out in one sitting. And it was definitely one that I thought there was something there enough to record, a little iPhone memo of. And then I sent it to Misha, kind of just,
you didn't think
whenever
it was way, but it
whenever
really
we come up with something, we will record it and we'll send it to each other and just go, is this a thing? does this deserve to be born or like have any kind of life, or is this just kind of like a stick it in a stack of riffs and move on to the next one? And I really wasn't sure if A, if it was any good, and B, if it fit our band. And so I sent it to Misha. He was like, no, this is great. Like, let's do it. Like, okay. So
that thing was
yeah,
that speaking of demo itis or whatever, the first thing he came with was like, it was all there. Like, I think the only thing I told him for that song was I want to hear it get to the chorus a little sooner. So there was a little bit of arrangement that needed to happen, but otherwise that thing was like,
yeah,
ready to get recorded.
Misha really helped improve that tune with the structuring, because like, yeah, the structure was flawed at the beginning. I didn't really see that it was, but once we chopped it up and moved stuff around, it was like, oh, this is way better. And then I think for both of us, we tend to write lyrics last.
Oh,
It's kind of like this, I heard Sting say that that's how he does it. Like he'll have like a whole song recorded, like the real version, before he even writes the lyrics, because he wants to set the scene for the movie and then go, okay, what movie is this? And then kind of write the screen, write the plot.
right.
And so that's the way we tend to do things. Also, I think for me, speaking for myself, it's probably the least fun part of playing music.
Same
for
here.
me, because
Same
it's
here.
yeah, because I think
Writing
it's
words is
it's
yes.
the biggest challenge for me. So in a way that's I'm used to overcoming musical challenges, but overcoming like poetic challenges are just, it's a different thing. And it's I think I don't like feeling that something that I am trying to improve at. But and I give myself a lot of rules too, and boundaries of like, I can't do this, don't do this, I don't like it when people do this. So I think there's a lot of confines that I'm personally imposed confines that I'm working within that make it maybe even more challenging.
We're the exact same in that way. Like
Okay.
it really is almost frustrating when you get to that point. It's like, I've got this song, I really like the melody. There's a vocal melody that I put there and I really like it, but finding the correct, the right words to go there, it's the biggest challenge.
That's a trip.
And it can get frustrating. I wish it wasn't like that. I wish I could just be a songwriter that like, oh, I'm going to write a song starting with the words like that. To me, that sounds easier, but it definitely doesn't come easy to me that way. Like I am crumpling things up and throwing things away all the time. Like, self-conscious about what I'm saying, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Those confines that you put on yourself.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
What's something that you know now that you wish you had known when you started out?
I wish I had paid a lot more attention when Summercamp was recording in big studios with reputable producers and engineers and stuff. I wish I had paid a lot more attention to that back then, to the recording aspect of it. Of course, I couldn't have seen the future to know that that's kind of where I was going to be heading and where really the world was going to be heading. But I think at the time I was just so focused on like, okay, you're the drummer in this band, do that job to the highest ability that you can. And so I just really kept a laser focus on that aspect of everything. And so when we would be in the studio, I wasn't looking around like, oh, I don't wonder what microphones they put on the floor, Tom, or, what compressor did you run that through? I wasn't really interested in any of that. I was like, that's your job. You do that to the best of your ability. My job is to execute these drum takes to the best of my ability. And so but in hindsight, I wish I would have been a little more, I would have been looking around a little more and had my ears open a little more.
That's not the first time I've heard that from a guest.
That's also because in Red Rose Way, Tony's not just the drummer and the play the guitar and sing and everything. He's also the producer and the mixer.
Okay.
And so all of what he just said, I mean, that ties in to that.
Misha, what about you? Is there anything that you wish you had learned earlier that you know now?
I think, I don't know. You talking about just playing music?
Yeah, just playing music.
Yeah, I think it's probably more of the like, why don't you sing or play guitar or whatever? Oh, I'm not good enough. I think it's that kind of Mr. Rogers' dream, believe in yourself thing.
Okay.
I think it's more of that, like the self-conscious, like, oh, those guys, because I have a lot of really super talented musician friends that are those kind of guys that can just, oh, drums, okay, they can do it all, and just uber talents. Some of them, never really saw the light out of day out of beyond Santa Barbara, which is weird, but yeah, I think it's that. I think it's that. What I could have probably started to write a song or sing, earlier than I did, that kind of thing, because I always just didn't think, oh, I'm just the bass player,
Right.
But to mask that, my thing was always to be the team player in a band. Like a band is a team to me, and I was always kind of managing my bands, I guess.
Okay.
Getting the gigs and doing the flyers and all that stuff. I think that's all important. I think I kind of masked the not coming out earlier with the singing and stuff by being that guy, kind of like rallying the troops and getting your team ready and let's go be as tight and kick ass as we can be. That's always how I feel about a band, though. I mean, to this day, like it's such a should always feel like a team.
For sure, I would imagine. Yeah. What is next for you guys? What are you working on now, either together or individually? And sub question: can we expect more Red Rose Way soon-ish? We can expect more.
We can expect more soonish. We already have. We just put out The Impossible Past. We have another song that's completely recorded. Well, 98% recorded, probably. Yeah. And so just need to put some finishing touches on that and mix it. And that'll be done soon.
Soon.
Then we've got another.
Understood.
Soon in our timeline.
Mixing takes a while sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we also have one more that's mostly written, I would say. It's so we'll probably start recording that somewhat soon. So yeah, so those songs are number 8, 9, and 10, the ones that I just mentioned.
Okay.
And I think once we have the 10 that we have, I think we can kind of see how they fit together as an album. And so I don't know, we're gonna maybe like put our feelers out there and see what we want to do with that, and then and just take it from there. We'll see as far as just kind of like getting it to people's ears.
Right.
And then, beyond Red Rose Way, both of us have sort of these solo projects that we've been working on
that don't have names.
Neither of them have names yet, but they both have recordings and songs. So it's they're pretty different from Red Rose Way, which is sort of why they exist. Because I think both of us have tendencies to write things that kind of don't fit into the scope of Red Rose Way. Because when we first started collaborating, I think we met we both love a ton of different stuff, but we both met on the basketball court that's kind of in the power pop, kind of melodic alt rock zone. And I think in the aim to keep a project kind of feeling like a cohesive thing, or kind of make a thing that's not really a band feel like a band, we've kind of put up some boundaries musically and stylistically on what kind of like fits what Red Rose Way is. And I think that's really worked for us, because it even though we're, two different guys writing, two different guys singing, all this stuff, two guys that aren't in the same, zip code, I feel like those boundaries have kind of like kept the thing feeling like a cohesive artistic statement. But we both also write things that are kind of like maybe moodier or kind of darker, or things that don't quite fit in that power pop zone. And so we've each kind of got these like solo side projects that are on various stages of on the back burner.
Okay.
And so probably once, maybe when our album is complete, maybe we'll dedicate a little more time to those for a while, and then see what we want to do after that. But I don't know. I see Red Rose Way as a thing that I would want to do, as long as I'm breathing, pretty much. Like,
awesome.
We're such good friends, and we just like relate so much musically, and we just share a lot of the same like musical loves and joy and stuff that as long as we're both playing music, it would be kind of dumb to not be doing Red Rose Way on some level or another.
I couldn't have said it better. About Red Rose Way, like, we're going to compile this record. We're going to release a record, whether it's on our own or we find someone that wants to have part in it, label, or I don't know even how it works now. But that album is going to see the light of day, and then we will keep making songs together as Red Rose Way. I guarantee it. Did you watch Ozark? I think of the scene. If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me. That's how I feel about Red Rose Way. I love Tony. I love working with him. He's my great friend, and that's going to keep happening. Whether if I still can move my hands and have a voice and everything,
And it's kind of like we have to honor the fact that we can do what we've been doing this far away from each other, both with the lives that we have, and be doing it like on the phone and text and email and all that.
And doing it as well as you are.
Yeah. And I couldn't do that with just anyone. Like, you couldn't just take two people and tell them to do that. Like, it takes a specific, special kind of relationship and background and shared history together to have that work, like, for one song, let alone 10. So I feel like the fact that we have that, like, it has to be honored, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we do have a deep history, not just being friends, but also in music, whether it's playing together for a long time in different, a couple of different bands, but also listening to music together. Like we've both turned each other on to different music and bands, and we've gone to a bazillion concerts together. And it's just this music thing that's the friendship is like kind of based around, and it counts. It's something, it's extra. It's as he was saying, like you can't just throw anyone together and expect it to work, So that's been a cool thing. And then the solo thing he was talking about, yeah, that's for me, my thing is, if you asked me, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, if you were going to be making solo guitar dream pop instrumentals, I would have never believed you, but that's kind of where I'm going with that.
But here we are.
Here we are making instrumentals. So I listened to, like I was saying, the Cocteau Twins and Robin Guthrie, the guitar player. I listened to his solo music, and that's kind of the idea where I got for my thing. And I don't like to write lyrics, so let's keep it instrumental. And then I don't want to keep it too mellow because it wouldn't be true to myself. So I didn't want to ask Tony for drums because I want to save him for Red Rose Way, all of his time for that. So I have our friend Kelly Scott from Failure, who I hire to play drums on my solo instrumental guitar dream pop crap.
Oh wow!
And with the only thing I have in my mind with it is like I could see this somehow ending up in some sort of film or something like that. That's all I'd ever want. That's all I'd ever want of it, other than the satisfaction of making music. It's just another form of being able to create music.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We are a little bit over an hour. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the time and the conversation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate the attention and wanting to do something with us.
For sure.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for the interest, listening.
No, I think it's really, really great stuff what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to more.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Many thanks to Misha and Tony for their time and sharing their story. Extra special thanks to S.W. Lorden for making it happen.
This episode of Centre Stage was written and produced by Keith R. Higgins. The show was recorded at Thunderlove Studio, where it was engineered by
Daphne Morris,
with help from
Penetration,
edited by
Vic Titball,
with help from
Clem Fandango.
Our theme song is Cynical by Jaguar on Mars. You can stream Jaguar on Mars wherever you stream your favorite music. The songs that you heard during this podcast were The Impossible Past, It Can Happen Again, Change, Flying Low, and lastly, you heard Here For You. You can stream Red Rose Way wherever you stream your favorite music. Also, check out the show notes for links to their Bandcamp page. Please remember to support independent music.
original music by Mike Pellegrino.
If you like what you've heard, please remember to subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps other people find the podcast. Thanks for listening.
Grazie.
Bailey Leaf,
Rob Janicki, Mike Pellegrino, Farina Bella,
S.W. Loudon,
Michael Janicki, Peyton Janicki.
This show's executive producer is Lulu McGillicuddy and is in the loving memory of
Lucas Thunderlow.
And now, until we meet again next time, I remain as always obediently yours.
Abandoned Albums is a production of Paw Print Media.